UOM Business Network. So much for one broadcast.
Just recently, we celebrated Lagos at 50, and now we're talking about Lagos beyond 50. It's amazing. Hello everyone, and welcome to another package of the UOM Business Network. I am Ethel Okwala. Today on the program, we shall kick off with the news segment, thereafter the Nigerian economy, and on the spot on, the Executive Director of Ship and Shore Services Limited, no other person but Dr. Gbadebo Akinsoya, and on the face-to-face, the President of Eco Club, Chief Tunde Fani-Moku. It promises to be incisive. Let's go there.
The Proudly Nigerian campaign is an initiative committed towards locating, identifying, recognizing, and promoting outstanding Nigerian individuals and organizations, both domiciled in the country and in the diaspora, for their positive contributions towards the continuous growth and development of Nigerians and the brand Nigeria. The campaign also aims to create an enviable environment which will ensure that the creativity of Nigerians is adequately recognized, particularly in the sphere of producing local whole content, goods and services.
Nigeria is our country, and if we want it to be good, we will make it good. If we want it to be developed, we will play a role to make it developed. If we want it to be a peaceful country, everybody has a role to play, from the government to the people.
It is also established to recognize the need to encourage more productivity from the teeming Nigerians, both in the country and in the diaspora, who are brimming with ideas that could change the paradigm of Nigeria for good. It is against this background that the Proudly Nigerian Campaign Organization is embarking on a media tour to select strategic print media publications like The Nation, Sun, Vanguard, Business Day, and Punch newspapers to solicit for their partnerships so as to sensitize the citizenry on the need to be Proudly Nigerians always. Proudly Nigerian Campaign, great nation, great opportunities.
Trust Bond Mortgage Bank PLC is a journey of over 17 years. With an enviable record of successful housing delivery, Trust Bond Mortgage Bank PLC has been devoted to meeting the finance service needs of its teeming customers. Trust Bond Mortgage Bank is made up of high-caliber professionals with total commitment to the highest level of corporate governance and international best practices. Expectedly, it is dedicated to continually challenge itself with a customer-centric standard of quality service delivery. As a culture, Trust Bond Mortgage Bank PLC does not compromise on customer satisfaction. And armed with the strength that lies in its tenacity to deliver on promises, the bank has been proudly telling its customers, "We have done your homework." Trust Bond Mortgage Bank PLC. Your trust is our bond. Industry operators in Nigeria have continued to evaluate the ease of doing business in the country. To this end, the attention of government has been drawn to address the issue of infrastructure deficiency. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Rock Foundation Logistics, Pastor Tola Olukilede, in an exclusive interview with UOM Business News, spoke on this.
Basically, there's no encouragement from government. The infrastructures are bad. No good road. And when roads are not good, what will happen? Vehicles will be damaging more frequent. They take away your income. The income that we could have used to expand, go into further things, employ more people, is being spent to repair vehicles. Okay. There was a time when you are using diesel trucks. Okay, most of the trucks are even diesel. We all know that diesel are adulterated in this country. Okay, and most of those trucks, if they are new, they are no longer Euro 3. Most of them are Euro 4 engines that are very sensitive to diesel. But because of corruption, because of bad government policy, because the government are not serious enough to see the future of the logistic company, they didn't even bother about regulating the quality of diesel.
Still on infrastructure, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Law One Agro Limited, Lawrence Tom Nokiri, is of the view that lack of relevant information and shortage of electricity are some of the factors that affect food processing industries in Nigeria.
First, you need power to be able to produce whatever thing you're doing, and you have to be able to have a competitive price. And to have that, you need power. That as a factor is basically a limiting factor for the success in business. Secondly is a road network. Most of these farms are situated in very remote locations, and it's difficult for the farmer to produce and transport his produce before it goes bad from where he's producing to the point of sale. So that as well is a challenge. And the next is information. Most of the people, the bunch or the bulk of farmers we have right here in Nigeria are the small scale holder farmers. The challenge they are having is they lack information on how or what the best market price is, or how to move products, or basically general information. So if they have more access to information, I think they can do better in their production first, and secondly, in moving the product from their point of production to the point of harvest.
Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Quality Foods, Reverend Paul Jegede, has called on government to establish policies to guarantee ease of doing business in the agricultural sector, with particular reference to food processing industries.
There's an index called ease of doing business. When an investor lands somewhere with his money, he wants a quick return. He doesn't want it tied down by bureaucracy and, sorry to say, corruption, bureaucracy, delays. So I believe Nigeria is not ranking very high in the ease of doing business, and we need to put steps, no infrastructure. When there's no electricity, it causes a lot of hardship. So not only to food, generally, there must be electricity. You can't be buying diesel at 200 naira per liter and be running profitable business. It becomes tough. We believe government is addressing these issues. Companies running to Ghana and other countries, maybe they'll come back.
Let's now look at the construction industry in Nigeria. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Sapient Vendors Limited, Walter Emiedafe, has revealed that the major challenges facing the construction industry in Nigeria is not really about finance, but rather capacity and quality assurance from practitioners.
The challenge that every other operator in the construction industry faces is basically finance. That's the first thing everybody faces. But I've actually had a different line of thought. I've actually gone through different. I read a lot, and I've learned a couple of things that really it's not about finance. It's about capacity. Majority of the time, we only scream about lack of finance as a bottleneck, but it's actually not a bottleneck. It's about your capacity. You don't actually overstretch yourself beyond your capacity. Then also, when you make money, you invest in the right thing. If you invest in the right thing, I'm sure finance will not be a challenge. It's still a challenge. We're not seeing government coming to intervene in the situation anytime soon. A lot of things have been said, but I don't see them coming to play very soon.
Now to human capital development. Director General of the Center for Management Development, CMD, Kabiru Usman, has called on Nigerian youth to position themselves for development. He believes that Nigerian youth can attain the highest level of successful development if they are purposeful, innovative, and creative.
It is very, very important, for us, and that is the essence of study, and that is the essence of knowledge capital, and that is the essence of us to be widening, participation of youth, and also making sure we get a very prominent role for women to play, because they contribute significantly towards the economic development of this particular country. For you to be a successful, aspirational leader, you have to have two qualities. One is integrity, the other is courage. So whatever we want to achieve, if we set the goals and the dedication and commitment, we can equally achieve it. So all Nigerians, particularly the youth, we should all have aspiration, to try and use our talent and use innovation and use creativity
because that is what is being used by many other nations to succeed. If others can succeed, why not us? And Nigerians are very intelligent people, and I'm sure there will be more multi-billionaires that are going to come within the space, a short space of time.
Banji Fatwache, Managing Director of Bamford Interiors, has criticized financial institutions for not supporting real estate operators in Nigeria.
Go to any commercial bank today, seek for loan. What you'll be asked to pay is enough to send you to trouble that you never prayed for. When I was to buy some of the machines, I approached a bank. I don't want to mention him now, one of the commercial bank. And we were to borrow a very minimal amount for 7 million. We were to pay back 9 million, all within 12 months. So when it was carefully calculated, how much then am I supposed to pay per month that makes up the 9 million in a year? It was 750,000 naira. What am I doing? A language said in my village, the gods that cannot save me, leave me alone the way you met me.
Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Jumaco Holdings Limited and Merit Engineering Company, Chief Matthew Wankwo, is strongly of the view that budget policies, processes and implementation are some of the challenges businesses face in Nigeria. He advised that the economy can only grow if government pays more attention to the private sector. Chief Wankwo gave this explanation in an exclusive interview with EOM Business Network News in his Abuja office.
From 2013, the past administration of Jonathan left a debt burden of trillions of naira, and this particular government came on board, and they have paid very little of it. As we speak, where contractors are being owed in National Assembly, in SDG, former MDG, Millennium Development Goals, Nigeria couldn't meet it. It may interest you to know. And we've gone into SDG without meeting MDG target. And we've gone into SDG. Are we sure to meet it? If you go to SDG, they still have a debt of over 20-something trillion naira, 20-something billion naira owed contractors. If you go into National Assembly, I'm involved in SDG, former MDG. And then you go into National Assembly, you still have over 20-something billion owed contractors. And so you will find in virtually all the ministries and parastatals of this country, how would the economy grow? Most of us have downsized from 100 and something staff to a mere 10 staff, and closed so many offices, so many branches. How can the economy grow? I became so happy when I had the acting president say that 2.7 trillion is being released immediately for payment of liabilities inherited by this administration. I'm yet to see the manifestation, the full implementation of this policy statement, because the contractors have not been paid. They are being owed up to date. And the economy will only grow when the government pays more attention to the private sector, which is the engine of growth of any economy. Because they serve as a stabilizing force to any economy. And so I will advise the government of the day to put all necessary machineries in motion towards the implementation of this policy of Buhari administration, and to strive earnestly to liquidate the liabilities, because government is a continuum. Whenever the chief executive is handing over, he hands over assets and what? And liabilities. So that's the scenario.
Chief Executive Officer of SNN Mascot Ventures Limited, Sylvester Nwachukwu, has identified the lack of access to finance as a major challenge with production and manufacturing companies in Nigeria.
As a beginner, and you know, production is capital intensive. Let's say you want to go into water production, go into cosmetics production, or some of all those things, they are capital intensive. Some of the machineries are worth 10 million, 15 million, and the like. And if you are asking for a bank for 1 million and they're asking you for a choice building, you don't have a collateral. So there is no way you can start off. So collateral has always been the problem. Finance have always been the problem. And we are governments sincerely mean what they are. They have to work with the banks, pull out that collateral, or make the one-on-one business, the bank and the people. You bring in your proposal, bring in your visibility studies, and the bank can send somebody who will collaborate with you to see how you foster, and then leverage the companies from the collateral stuff. But if you insist that that modality has to be that everybody has to provide a collateral, where can an average Nigerian get a collateral?
Nigerian government has been advised to encourage and support investment in the natural gas subsector. Engineer Dr. Innocent Akuvie, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of GGI International, spoke exclusively to EOM Business Network News correspondents on the opportunities in this sector.
It's an opportunity a lot of us are going to take a dive into. I, for one, will. Because gas, for goodness sake, it has come to a point where this country should begin to explore and use the gases, the natural gases God has given us. We have a lot of gases in our country, and this is the best opportunity for us to do that. So, and this is what we try to do, even as patent members. You know, we try to look at areas where we feel that the government should explore or should encourage people to explore. Because if you don't have the right legal approvals in place, it makes it difficult even for the investor. But right now, having gotten that signed, even the investors would be keen to coming into Nigeria and looking for the right partnership. You understand? And that is where we feel that those of us who are well positioned, who are well grounded in this area, stand a better chance of having this breakfast that has been served, take full advantage of it. It was good news, and we are compelled to begin to think what we are going to grow in country. So I think that is fantastic. That's fantastic. And it might also interest you to know that one of the things I did earlier as a young engineer was the design, construction, and commissioning of an LPG plant. You understand? That was me as a pupil engineer. Today I'm beyond that, and what I'm thinking now is massive investment in gas, because I know the ripple effects of having that work. It's going to create more jobs. It's going to take us out of deforestation, because a lot of people will be able to afford to cook with gas. You understand? Once the product is available, the price crashes on its own. You don't even need to push for it.
Now to Kano State. And in the spirit of celebrating Kano's 50th anniversary, also known as Kano at 50, Alhaji Abubakar Usman, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Ibit Hajj Modern Corporations Limited, spoke on the level of development in Kano State in the last 50 years.
Kano at 50 is a very good development, considering the ancient history of Kano. Kano has been a center of commerce since there were not even many commodities to trade. You know, it started from granite, kola nut, and other commodities. And when you look at it today, from the past decade or from the past 2 decades, when there is new innovation of technology, has made the Kano people know more about the outside world and the outside businesses. The introduction, or let me say the the coming out of internet in 1991 has made the world a better place. So currently there are a lot of business people in Kano, more than you ever could imagine. There are a lot of young entrepreneurs who are into a lot of businesses. So we should thank God to that, because it's something to be proud of by our parents and our grandparents and our leaders, for us to be able to struggle to survive. You know, Kano is a place whereby people struggle to survive. The most important thing in life is not about money. It's about experience. Experience is far much more valuable than money.
In the same vein, Chief Martins Usolo is of the view that the upward development in Kano State makes it worthy of being celebrated.
50 years is a tremendous landmark in every phase of life. 50 have done great. Kano State have done greatly in terms of developments at 50 years. I want to start by, through the first governor of Kano State, Commissioner of Police, Alhaji Audu Bako of the blessed memory. He laid a solid infrastructure in the development of Kano State, followed by the other governors that were followed by other governors up to the present governor, His Excellency Alhaji Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. He did not rest on their hours. He has done well. In fact, it is worth celebrating.
Staying in Kano, First Deputy President of Kano Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, who is also the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Al Hamsat Investment Limited, Alhaji Dalhatu Abubakar, has highlighted the commercial development in Kano State since its creation.
From the time I was born, and I see a lot of development at Kano. Before, if you see, there's no, all this development is, we are calling, there is Badala, this old building and the fencing there. But now each of our administration came, they are trying to see that they have made a development, a lot of development in Kano. You see now Kano is really developed in terms of trading, commercial in general. And many people are enlightened now. You know, before Kano, we are trading for this granite, but now our people open their mind and they have started for industrials and manufacturing and a lot of businesses that before Kano, we don't know all this kind of thing.
He also expressed appreciation for the governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, for tackling security issues in the state.
You know, last 2-3 years is above the expectation, you know, this issue of security. So, but now we thank God everything is okay. Our executive governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, he is really trying to see that the security issue has gone. I see he support police, army, and all other security agents. Recently, he gave almost 25 cars, Hilux, new ones, to police. And he gave another 25 to army. So he really tried, and this shows that he's really serious on the issue of security. And many times if the IG visit Kano, I see he almost saying that he's really in support of just every security that here agencies, he gives support to them.
Wale Gomez, Chief Executive Officer of Quant Capital, has called on the Nigerian government to create feasible structures to enable ease of doing business across the country. He also spoke about his company's plan to improve real estate investment in Nigeria.
Government needs to come out with structures that will assist us in, one, setting up a business, 2, creating financing model for people that want to start their own business, 3, give us structures to work with that will assist in doing business easier way out. Quant Capital is coming out with a seminar that will talk about the real estate investment trust and teach practitioners in the industry the modalities and the operational procedures for real estate investment trust. That is the savior of Nigeria. It's going to be purely for professionals or people that want to know more about real estate investment trust and want to know how it will assist them in acquiring the knowledge into having a collective funding for real estate, for the real estate market and development. We, like all know, there are 2 types of rates. There's the rates for constructions, and and there's also a mortgage rates. So all those things we will teach and show people the structures and how it works.
And that's the EOM News.
According to evaluations from global economic findings, the establishment of social infrastructures like electricity, roads, health, communication, transportation systems, physical structures, as well as friendly tax regimes, and so on, is essential to achieving a friendly, conducive, and thriving business environment. In fact, some of the major causes of Nigerian economic underdevelopment include infrastructure deficits, inadequate implementation of developmental policies, and unfriendly tax regimes, among others. Economic experts have therefore suggested that for Nigerians' recovery plans and actions to rebound exponentially, to revamp the current economic challenge and indeed compete favorable in the cycle of economic powers, about 25% of its GDP must be constantly and sincerely dedicated to infrastructure development over the next 10 years. EOM Business Network spoke to a cross-section of industry players on the challenges of doing businesses in Nigeria. Alhaji Akeem Toluwaloju is the chairman of Heart Global Nigerian Limited.
We look at the area of farming, say, okay, what can we do as far as farming is concerned? We now said, we came to a decision that, well, since I cannot see myself sitting down in the bush, watching the fish or the chicken or whatever, and besides, that aspect of the business, I consider it to be very, very risky. Having taken into consideration all these risk factors, we now decided, okay, I think we are better off doing the business of importing fish feed. And we look at it, okay, where and how do we go about it? Open is in the market. What other things can we bring into the market that will be competitive, okay, and unique? at the same time. Our mission statement is to be a company of class standard. We will be the company of first option. Our mission statement is to ensure quality delivery of service and goods. And what do I mean by that? You know, in Nigeria now, there are so many of these fake products in town. When you talk of generator spare parts, you only need to go to the high street on Oregon and get into any of the shops there. In our own company here, we don't have two different oil filters. It's only one. And that only one comes from England. Business relationship with Perkins in England. Okay? And of course, they always come here to check, to make sure that we don't sell anything else than the original product. And since from my own profession as an accountant, accuracy and integrity, that's the ICANN policy. We try to bring this into the business as well by making sure that we build our integrity based on trust.
Salem Adegunwa is the managing director of Right Foods Limited.
Right Foods is a subsidiary of SA Holdings. SA Holdings itself is a group that's 54 years old. They started in 1963, pioneered the photographic business. They were the largest in the West African region, representing and distributing agri products in 8 West African countries. Right Foods itself was given birth to 2008. This was as a diversification because of the digital photography that came into that industry and more or less ended the analog photo business as we all know it. And we started 2008, and yeah, you see where we are today. Our vision really is to be a leader in our chosen field and to ensure that we create growth and sustainability and an enduring legacy in whatever field we've chosen. And that very much is what you see. And I think you're able to see that from the products as well. And you would also notice that anytime we do anything, we always try to do something that's not done before as well. So to just be a leader in any field that we decide to go into. In 2008, we started with the sausages. We currently have 2 different types. There's a traditional sausage, which most people are very familiar with. And we also have one again, that's unrivaled, a different quality that we call the spicy beef. That's right spicy beef. That one of the things we do that a lot of people are not familiar with, I hope you're able to see in the factory, is the hygiene level of the factory. And despite the fact that this is considered to be a mass product, the hygiene and the quality level is actually second to none. It's a world-class standard. And it's produced at the highest standards, which I think you were able to witness when you walked around. So that's on the sausage side. And then we now have the beverage as well. And that's your carbonated drinks, your traditional cola, orange, lemon, and lime. Again, like I said, we always like to do something a bit different. We also have the cocktail, that's the tropical, which is different again. That is not in the market. We've also recently introduced our water and the energy drinks as well. That's our Fearless brand. Again, even in that area as well, we have 2 brands. That is the traditional energy drink, the classic, and then we have the Red Berry, which again is new and not in the market. That's our trend. It's always, we'll get known for that after some time, where people will know that these guys are very innovative and they always come out with products that is not in the market and absolute world class. what we do here is not for sure. It's our way of life. Excellence is what we do. It is embedded in everything we do. You cannot go this far without having a maintenance culture. What you see today looks like it was done yesterday. But remember, like I said, Rifles is started 2008. So we get better all the time. The facility you just walked through is already going to 4 years now. And sorry, it's our culture. It's kind of second nature to us. It's really a non-issue. It's about the way you do things, the excellence standard that we do with everything that we do. So if you're talking your products, your factory, your facility, just name it. It boils down to the excellence culture that we imbibe. Again, like I said, is the culture of the culture of our founding, the chairman, with what they've done, and all we had to do was just continue that legacy, which is the fact that we do things in an excellent manner. It's the culture, it's how our background, our pedigree. You know, and I think a drive to be very proudly Nigerian, and to stand bold and tall. That yes, we are Nigerians, but with a difference, and we can stand shoulder to shoulder with any products worldwide. That is the drive. That is, you know, to hold that Nigerian proudly, then high, where you can raise the flag.
Lagos State is 50. Indeed, a celebration of aquatic splendor. The editorial board of the EOM Business Network on Silverbird Television wish to join well-meaning Nigerians across the globe to celebrate the 50 years anniversary of Nigeria's economic capital, Lagos State.
Dr. Gbadebo Akinsanya is the Executive Director of Ship and Shore Services Limited.
I agree with you, 50 years is a landmark celebration. At the same time, I know that Lagos have come of age 50 years. When you look at Lagos in the last 50 years, a lot of developments have taken place. Yes, we have been very ambitious. We have not been able to put our developmental in such a way as to make it easy for sustenance and the ability of Lagos. But the last successive governments have come to realize this and are making efforts to change what has been happening in the past. I looked at pictures of Lagos many years ago. I've got some video coverage. People walked on the streets. The cars were few. Buses ran. I schooled in Lagos. I was at King's College. I went to St. Mary's College. During my time at King's College, you had buses for school children. Only school children were allowed in those buses. And we had buses that were numbered. Bus number 45, bus number 17. You know the buses that are going from Race Course to Yaba, Yaba to Surulere, and all that. And the areas that were designated for residents were residential, and the areas that were designated for commercial were commercial, and there were areas designated for industry, they were industry. And I'm happy that the government is trying a lot to do things about this. And they're building new estates and new places designated for mainly estates, and they give regulations to this. I think Lagos has done very well in that. They've done very well, and I'm very happy for Lagos State, because if I look at Lagos now, Lagos was the 10th of what it was when I was growing up. Victoria Land stopped at Federal Palace, a few feet out of Federal Palace. Victoria Land is the Sandfield area. When you talk about Atlantic City, people say, oh, Atlantic City will sink. We filled Victoria Land. We filled Lekki. Why should Atlantic City sink? It won't sink. Because they have competent engineers doing it. Just as Lagos and Victoria Land was built, it hasn't sunk. And it will not sink. The only problem with Lagos, Victoria Land, and Somali Land is that the areas that were designated for residential have been turned to commercial. So the infrastructure is not adequate to meet up with the growth of the areas. And I'm sure the government is doing a lot, especially this present governor is trying to do a lot to address this situation. Of all the states in the country, Lagos is the most developed state, and it's developing very fast. If we were to take Lagos as a country,
in West Africa, or in Africa. Our revenue generation here is about number 6 or number 7 in the whole of Africa. Lagos State itself, not to talk of Nigeria. In the whole of Africa, Nigeria is number 1. I'm not sure my figures when it comes to countries like Egypt, but I think we are bigger than South Africa. Population-wise, we're a lot more. But in terms of our gross revenue, we are bigger than most countries in Africa. Lagos State itself has done a lot. They are beginning to look at other things, into agriculture, into industry, into real estate, into the tourism industry, into other things. We're doing that. And I find that in that area, comparatively speaking, Lagos is doing very well. No question. We can do a lot better, but we're doing very well. The average man on the street believes that bunkering is stealing of petroleum products. It is not stealing of petroleum products. Bunkering is the supply of fuels to power the various vessels on your waters. Bunkering is a big business. Many countries live on bunkering. Singapore is the largest bunkering city country in the world. Their bunkering activity is more than China, that is larger exporter of products. Nigeria, being the highest importer of products here, should have a good bunkering activities going on. But because people have misused the chances given to them to bunker, and secondly, people don't really understand what bunkering is. They tend to, government doesn't give it any form of leverage. Government is not encouraging people to bunker. Now, if we are to bunker, we're going to provide employment for a lot of people. A lot of our so-called youth will be seamen working on vessels and bunkering. Number 2, if we are to provide, regulate bunkering, the cost of freight of our products into Nigeria will be less than what it is now.
Dominic Ume is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of VIP Industries Limited.
Lagos, they are doing good. Lagos, they are doing very, very good. 50 years of advancement, they have achieved a lot to compare with other states. They have one unique thing they are using, one program. A unique program they are using, special. Continuity of their program. You know, they used to hand over. When the current governor left the office, the present one will continue where he stopped. You know, that's helped me a lot. It helped them a lot by what they are doing in the economic of Nigeria. What he did was a very good idea. But the problem now, will he continue with that? If you leave office, will somebody continue with it? That's the question. Because he laid the foundation now. What we want to do in Nigeria, when somebody set a good foundation in Nigeria, when other person take over, they will cancel it. If he continue in this way, maybe 2 to 3 years, he shake, you will see the results. He's doing good by bringing such an idea into the economy and to Nigeria. VIP started in 1990. Then we are still managing. So then we thank God. Thanking our God by still keeping on going. Because many of us, some have gone. I know how many were added, started the cosmetics industry. We are not up to, would I say, 10. So on the other side, I'm thanking God for keeping us alive, and I hope future is bright for us. They started in 1990 with my wife only. Every day things start improving gradually. Now I know how many workers I'm feeding. So I'm happy for that.
Chief Tunde Fanimokun is the president of Echo Club.
I feel excited about Lagos at 50 for all these reasons. I was recruited into Lagos State right from my university days. I started working. I contributed my own. I got to the post of Chief Planning Officer for Lagos State and eventually becoming a permanent secretary. And as I said, I worked so closely with Alhaji Jakande that I happened to be the author of his history of what he did in Lagos State. No other person could put it together. I was right-hand man on land matters, on school building, how LASU was built, etc., etc., including the opening of Lekki. I'm involved with Lagos State in so many ways. Because of that one, Lagos at 50 is a joy to me. I'm part and parcel of the success story. It started from scratch. And in 2 years' time after its establishment, I joined Lagos State. And I've always been involved in Lagos State affairs. Even since leaving Lagos State Service, I've been a consultant one way or the other on land matters, on opening up. So Lagos at 50 is a remarkable achievement. It's worth celebrating. When Lagos State was created, federal government gave Lagos State only 10,000 pounds or naira, I don't remember now, it's in the book, as the granting aid. They thought Lagos was on its own. Secondly, the then existing regions, like Western region, felt Lagos they had no chance of survival. A co for sure. You had no cocoa, you had no oil, you had no nothing. And they were sending Lagos people out of the West, just go and face your trouble. So the foundation was well laid by the first governor, who happened to be the first military governor. He got technocrats who advised him. He set up a cabinet that created unity for every division of Lagos State. And that's part of what we are enjoying today. The first civilian governor who came in improved upon that foundation by introducing so many other things. Some of them you will see in this book. So I can say confidently that as an active participant, as an insider, and now that I've been operating in private sector in the same state for 35 years now, I can congratulate all that have made this thing possible, both indigenous and non-indigenous, Nigerians and expatriates. The Lagos culture is a melting point. Lagos is fortunate with the type of people and leadership, and that has been the basis. But Lagos has not got to its peak. It's still far, far, far from where it should be. We call Lagos the smallest in size, but it's also the biggest in terms of being the biggest economy. It's also the largest because of population size, and it's the oldest. Of all the 12 states created in 1967, Lagos State is the only one that has remained intact. All other broken up into pieces or joined this other thing. But the DNA of Lagos has remained intact. That one. So there must be something special, something significant about it, and part of it is the locational factor. Lagos has 180 kilometers of coastal line. That exposes it to prosperity from abroad. Internal trade, distributive trade, you have to pass through Lagos. Without Lagos, some other states will not exist because this is your contact with the world. So for all this thing, the locational factor, the people, the background, and the dynamism. And we are lucky in terms of leader we have been having. Starting, I would say, from the beginning, Mobolaji Johnson, Manu laid the foundation. The successors, military governors, they were passionate about Lagos State. They did their best. They didn't come to Lagos to destroy, to loot, or to do that one. People like Ukiwe, Ngudubusikano, their names remain gold in Lagos, but they contributed, they laid the foundation. But the turning point was Jakande era when he came in. The basis started with Jakande. He revolutionized everything, thinking of law, thinking of education, thinking of housing. They're out there. Fortunately, successful governors have maintained that tempo. And when Tinubu came through, he had one good vision about Lagos. Fantastic team that we have had. And Ambode, from what he has done in 2 years, I think Lagos could not be better in having a headship. I'm not surprised. It's a product of Lagos State Public Service. He's the first retired permanent secretary from Lagos State that has become the governor of Lagos State. The passion, those of us who pass through public service in Lagos State, is excellence in whatever you are doing, in any area of endeavor, and that is in his blood. And you could see in all his performance. Scotland first, how many government will talk about the number of roads he's building in a year. And so, I won't go into details, but Lagos have been fortunate. The founding fathers have been fortunate in terms of unity. It has been fortunate in terms of enterprise. Three things you could lay the credit of Lagos. Number one is the economy. Economic factor had been the propeller of development in Lagos State. Even when we are talking of distributive trade, if talking about whatever form of commerce, industry is in Lagos. So economic factor is very important. So for the success of Lagos after 50, we must not overlook the relatively high importance of economic factor. Eco Club was founded by 93 members, who are mostly Lagosians. They were relatively young, just back from overseas trip, things like that. But that time was the first experience of what they used to call go slow. They were living outside Lagos, but walking around Lagos Island. So they used to gather somewhere on the island at Ologbo, just to while away time before going back home. And over a period of time, they consolidated their thoughts, why not establish something equivalent to other social clubs with a different perspective, as a brotherhood, togetherness, mainly for Lagos indigenes, solely to protect the interests of Lagos State and help every administration. No political coloration. You could be involved in politics on your own, but the Eco Club started as a non-political organization. But it was interested in political development, economic development. So it was supportive to government of the day. Eco Club was established in 1974, and that was exactly 7 years after the creation of Lagos State. So right from the beginning, Eco Club has umbilical cord with Lagos State. It was established to strengthen Lagos State, to create unity in Lagos State, to promote prosperity of Lagos State, and that's what it has been doing. When you look at the logo of Eco Club, what you see there is the #1 festival in Lagos, Eyo Masquerade. What you see there is Keremes, the symbol of authority, the royal father. Eco Club came as a special creation. It's not like Island Club, which was founded by the whites and the elites. It's not like Yoruba Tennis Club, where they are mainly interested in tennis. It's not like lawn tennis, where you have the cream of the people. It's not like the Metropolitan Club, where, you know, you have the topmost people. The Eco Club is more for the generality of Lagos people. And it's solely, we're not interested in politics. We're not interested in some other things, but the best interest of Lagos State. My own mandate is to move Eco Club within 2 years to the highest level possible. And we have started already. Given all necessary support, I want to achieve all this one. One of them is to turn Eco Club into a billionaire social club. And we have got to the first billion. So by 2 years' time, we're talking of multiple billion. Already, we have done some valuation. Already, we are we want to triple our level of income. Already, we want to jumpstart so many things. So within 2 years, we want Eco Club to move to the next level. In a year's time, we want to prepare it for what it will be at the age of 50. And once I set the machinery, others behind me coming will follow the trend. So I'm on a special assignment for Eco Club, using my experience in government, in the private sector, and as a private consultant to financial institutions, bringing all of them together to serve the club.
Upgrade our status of performance at every level of our engagement.
We want the government to do something about that. They see how they can actually fine-tune this thing and make it okay for we business people.
Wow. And on this note, we call it a wrap. Many thanks indeed for being part of today's episode of the EOM Business Network. On behalf of the rest of the production team, our sincere appreciation goes to our sponsors for their continuous interest and support. Don't forget to follow us on eomcoms.com. Join us on Wednesday with Ologu Ekana Moari. I remain Ethel Okpala. See you then.